Hello and welcome back to Pentiment, a medieval narrative adventure game. I am in the third and final act of Pentiment, and I am no longer Andreas Maler. I am Magdalene the printer's daughter. In the previous episode, my father argued with the town leaders over the content of a public mural. Someone entered our home and attacked him. And no, I am not investigating the attack. I will be investigating the history of Tassing so that I can complete the mural before my father dies from his head wound. I talked to Martin and Brigitte's son Kraft about repairing the church foundation before the whole thing collapses. Visited the abbey ruins, the shrine of St. Moritz, and talked to some of the nuns in the convent. I wrote a letter to Esther, the baby born at the end of Act 2, and I also wrote to Mother Illuminata, hoping she would have some information about the history of Tassing for my mural. I received letters back from both Esther and Mother Illuminata, and also got a few more leads from my dad. Following up on those leads, I talked to Brigitte about the book that Martin stole from the Baron back in Act 1, and she gave it to me. Let's see what happens next in Pentiment. Now, I talked to Brigitte, and she gave me the book, but I want to see if Martin has anything to say to me. Now, we already know that this is not really Martin. This is someone who came back and assumed Martin's identity after running around with Martin robbing people on the highways, and Martin, the real Martin, got himself killed. Morning, Magdalene. How's Claus? Enduring. Even when his speech is slurred, he keeps a cheerful heart. I don't know what life would be like without him. Claus is a good man, Magdalene. Tassing is a better place thanks to him. He's one of the few in Tassing who hasn't been on my back all this time. What do you mean? Don't pretend like you haven't heard. Townsfolk have whispered shit about me for years. So what if I occasionally get into a few brawls? I'm an honest man. I wasn't involved with what happened to Otto Zimmerman. I supported his cause. Well, I don't think he really wanted to support Otto. I think he was kind of coerced into supporting Otto. But I didn't turn Martin in, or pretend Martin. I didn't turn him in as the possible murder suspect because I just didn't think that he did it. It seemed like, yeah, okay, so he gets in a few brawls, and yeah, he came back and assumed Martin's identity, but he's been a good husband, he's been a good son, and he's been a good farmer. I mean, he wants to have a good life. I don't know why he would kill Otto. The game kind of implied that he was going to kill Otto, or wanted to kill Otto, because Otto knew his true identity, and that Otto was using that to coerce him into supporting the peasant revolt. But I didn't uncover enough evidence to prove to me that this guy did it. But, but him saying that he supported the cause isn't necessarily the entire truth. I've pulled my weight around here, tilled the soil, salted the meats, provided for Brigitte and Kraft. Yeah, he's definitely done all those things. I've done enough backbreaking work for this family. Can't a man just have a goddamn rest? Why are you always getting into fights anyway? Brigitte supports you in all of this, doesn't she? I believe you, Martin. You seem like you could use a respite. Why are you always getting into fights? I don't really care. Brigitte supports you, doesn't she? She seems to. I'll say I believe you, Martin. Damn right. Right, I've lost enough time to this as it is. Time for you to go. Until later, Martin. Alright, well, I guess since I already have the book from Brigitte, and this isn't the real Martin anyway, so he probably doesn't know anything about the book that the real Martin stole from the Baron. And for all we know, the real Martin was the Baron's killer. Just because he left town, he wasn't there to take the heat in Act 1. Alright, let's see if we can talk to Wojslav. Nope, he's got nothing else to say. What about Matilda? God bless you, Magdalene. Hello, Matilda. Hello, Wojslav. How are you two? Very well. The Lord has blessed us more than we deserve. And how are you, Magdalene? I was worried with you keeping the house and the workshop all on your own. Let me bring some soup for you and your father. You're very kind, thank you. Dad would love that. I've hardly had a moment to cook a hot meal. I wouldn't want to impose. Well, I mean, she offered, so, it's not like you were begging. Dad would love that, I'll say that. Between your father, the shop, and the mural, I'm surprised you're not dead on your feet. He's very lucky to have such a devoted daughter. And before you worry about imposing, you're not. Ah, see, I didn't even have to say it. Taking care of our neighbors is how Tilda and I serve Tassing. Oh, he has a little pet name for her. That's cute. Our vocation may have changed, but our gratitude to God and the town has not. Yeah, they were both formerly, she was a nun and he was a monk, and they used to meet in the forest. I guess after the abbey burned down, they decided to stop hiding their relationship. You've always been so dedicated to the town. It's hard to imagine you two ever lived in the abbey. Yeah, I'll go down that path. I'm trying to get information about the history of Tassing. I'm wondering if they can tell me anything about the history of the abbey. Sometimes those days feel like another lifetime. A harder time, to be sure. Life feels pretty hard now. I thought the abbey was better off than the town in those years. Were the Benedictines anything like the poor Clares? No, I'll say I thought the abbey was better off than the town. So we were told, but in private I believe Father Gurneau struggled to provide for a scriptorium and a double monastery. Well, he struggled because Brother Guy was embezzling. Didn't help that Guy was skimming off the top. Yeah, he was doing more than skimming. He was taking a fortune. We found piles of gold and gems and stuff that he had been taking. However, seeing both the town and Curacao struggle was only a part of what made that time hard. A nun's life can be a challenging one, but I never had to deal with the difficulties you do now, Magdalene. What about your old life was difficult for you? I struggled with my vows, my discipline. I couldn't live as my sisters did. I broke my vows, as did Voislav. My God, Matilda, was there no one else? Oh, that's rude. I mean, I know I chose the barbed background, but that's just mean. You fell in love. I'll say that. We did. Well, I seduced her. You certainly did not. Are you telling young Magda here that you seduced me, then? Voislav, please. Ha ha. So you left the abbey. Well, we were found out, but our secret was kept. Still, the matter ate at my heart. That, and being falsely accused of murdering the old baron, terrified you, and rightly so. Yeah, but I didn't actually accuse her. I don't think I ever gave her name to the archdeacon who was investigating the murder. We all must account for our sins, Magdalene. I was afraid I would account for mine sooner than I thought. Those were the hardest years of my life. I repented and prayed to God to absolve me. But the Lord always provides, even in the darkest days. The abbey's destruction gave us a second chance. I can't imagine that the townsfolk were too happy to let you stay. It must be strange to leave that life after so long. That must have been incredibly difficult. I'll say they weren't too happy to let you stay. I'm curious if they got any pushback from the town. There was some suspicion at first, yes, but we proved useful in the days following, and soon they came around. The Lord forgives more readily than man, Magdalene. Never think that you must remain in a place that causes you to sin, even if others think it godly. I'm glad you two are finally able to live life together. You both deserve it. I never realized you two went through so much together. Yeah, I'll say that one. The revolt covered up many sins, yes, including many of our own. Now, they keep referring to this peasant revolt, and I don't know, just between you and me, at least the way I played through this game, it wasn't much of a revolt. It was basically Peter being a dick, and then everyone else getting caught up in it. I mean, at first, the peasants were like, hey, look, we're starving, and you need to listen to us. And so they chased it. Well, plus they also thought the abbot had killed Otto. So they chased the abbot into the library. And then I said, as Andreas Maler, I was like, well, let me investigate, and we'll get to the bottom of it. And I found out about Guy's embezzlement. Now, I don't necessarily think the abbot was innocent. Maybe he murdered Otto. I don't know, but I was never given a chance to actually accuse the abbot. I could either accuse Hannah, the innkeeper's wife, or Martin, who's not Martin, or I could accuse the embezzler, known guilty party Guy, at least guilty of embezzling. We know that for a fact. And he was really, really a dick about the whole thing. Like, he didn't seem repentant at all. At least not until he was chased into a windmill and about to be killed by the mob. But as far as like a full-on revolt where everyone was involved and everyone was like eager to fight, I mean, by the time I got to the end of Act 2, it seemed like everyone was feeling remorseful and regretful and wanted a peaceful resolution. And Peter was the one who was like, no, I'm not going to have it. And he went in and burnt the library and the abbey down. And so it was really on Peter. And then when we all came out of the abbey, the Duke's troops were there and the abbot was trying to calm them down. So, I mean, I know some people died and stuff, but anyway, just the whole idea of calling it a full-on revolt just doesn't quite fit with the way I played through the game. Or my perception of what was happening. I don't know. Only by the grace of God are we in this life together. May it be many more years before we part. God willing. Anyway, Magdalene, I'll send that soup over to you shortly. Thank you, Matilda. God bless you both. I'll say thank you, Matilda. God bless you, Magda. God bless. Okay, well, that didn't give me a whole lot of information. But it was nice to catch up with them and find out what had happened after the end of Act 2. Now, we have some other leads we can follow up on. And I think I would like to go out to the woods and talk to Smokey. I'd actually already tried to talk to Smokey in Act 3. And he didn't have anything to talk to me about. But now that we have some additional motivation here, let's see what he says. Oh, what's this? Oh, yeah, Whorehound. Good day, Mistress Druckerin. I've told you, Smokey. Call me Magdalene. Old habits, I suppose. What brings you to my corner of the woods? More gossip? Only ancient gossip. I was wondering if you knew anything about the old pagan and Roman mines? As much as I'm curious, no, I'm looking for a way to get into the old salt mines. Oh, am I trying to get into the old salt mines? Cool. Okay. Yeah, sure, I'll ask about that. Get into the mines? Christ, no. Is this a new interest of yours, Magdalene? I don't see the townsfolk trek out there as much anymore. Last I saw were those two twins making trouble. They know a way in, but I'll be damned if I ever set foot close to that place. What are you so interested in over there? The mural in the rat house needs a section about the earliest days of Tassing. The mines are the oldest part of Tassing, and you keep a keen ear. I thought you might have heard something. I don't know about getting down into the mines, but I do know a fair few stories about them, and the other Roman ruins around here. The old stories my father used to tell me when he was the burner of Tassing. The one about Mars and Tassia the nymph was always my favorite, though I blame that on my youth. Tassia? Like Tassing? Folk named the town after a pagan god, a Roman one at that. I don't mind telling you the tale, Magdalene, but I warn you, it's a bit bawdy. Oh, count me curious. Well, I need something about the Romans to paint on the mural. I don't need to hear those parts. I'll say count me curious. Ah, I won't be scandalizing you. Can't have your father hounding me for any coarseness. But I'll tell you the decent bits of what I remember. Alright, what's the story? Everyone excludes me from the fun. I'll say what's the story. What's the story, Morning Glory? Well, legend says that Mars was hunting in these woods and spied a fat boar for the taking. He'd just pulled back his spear when he heard a woman scream in terror. Of course, the creature ran off, and the god was angry at the loss of his quarry. So he tramped through the woods to see why a woman was in the forest and not in the local town. Why would a god be hunting in Tassing's forest? But I go into the forest all the time. I'd like to say both of these, but I can only pick one. I'll say why would a god be hunting in the forest? How should I know? Maybe he just wanted a brisk walk. Besides, why should anything the gods do make sense? These were the old days when spirits and ghosts prowled. What do you mean prowled? You're just trying to scare me. Ghosts aren't real. Human spirits go to heaven or hell. They don't stay on Earth. I need facts, Smokey, not folk tales. No, I want the folk tales. Come on. What do you mean prowled? Prowled, like spirits and other evil things do. I can't just say they walked through the woods like you or me. They prowled. Alright, keep going. Samaras found a nymph, Tassia, bathing in a spring with a fat, ugly satyr goading her from the shore. Enraged at seeing the trapped nymph, Mars transformed into a wolf and slew the satyr. And in return, well, Tassia bathed the god. They bathed? Ah, I see. Ha, I get it. They bathed. Yeah, I'll say that. I did warn you, Magdalene. When Mars left the pool, he dripped onto the ground, and it blossomed with flowers and crops. They say that's why this valley is so fertile. What exactly did he drip onto the ground there? We've been growing crops here for generations. People would want a reason for that, even if it was the gods. That might be tricky to paint on the mural. I'm not sure if the council would approve. Oh my. Did you make that up? How do I know that's a real legend? Yeah, I'll ask him that, because I'm wanting him to direct me to the Nymphium. I'd like to go over there and check it out as Magdalene. I saw it once as Andreas Maler, but let's see if we can get her over there too. Tell me, what makes a real legend, Mrs. Truckerin? I can tell you it's older than any other story I've ever heard. So much of what the Romans left behind was destroyed over the years, but I like that we still have these tales. You can never really destroy stories, as long as there are people to tell them. Of course, the Romans left a hell of a lot behind, too. The town is more Roman than Bavarian, really. Well, we are a part of the Holy Roman Empire, because of how long it was a Roman colony. That's ridiculous. We're Bavarian, not Roman. I'll say because of how long it was a Roman colony. That and how much of the town is built upon the Roman foundations. Tassing is actually much smaller now than it was in the Romans' day. At least that's what I make of it. The ruins go deep into the forest and all the way to the old mine. Half of Tassing is built on Roman stone. Yeah, we know that there is a network of tunnels all around. I mean, they run from the Nymphium all the way to the Abbey and the convent. Oh, and the church is called Our Lady of the Labyrinth. I wonder if that refers to the network of tunnels that run through the area. Oh, I really want to get her into the tunnels. I really want to get her to that Nymphium. Take a walk around town and you'll start noticing things. We used their stone to build. The old temple by Satya's shrine has grown over, but the aqueduct runs for miles. Yeah, the old temple by Satya's shrine. Even the abbey used to be an old Roman fort. You can see some of the Roman paved stones under the road if you look hard. We may not be Roman, but this town is. Tassing has been building upon itself for hundreds of years. What a beautiful idea. I never realized how much we relied on the Romans for our infrastructure. Old stones aren't much of a legacy. It's all rubble now, reused and forgotten. No, I'll say Tassing has been building for hundreds of years. I like that. That's the way of things. Most people don't notice the old stones. Too busy in town to notice what's right in front of their eyes. Maybe I should go take a look at the mine. I'd get a better sense of what things were actually like. Nothing will stop you, I see. Well, I won't either. Just keep an eye for any wolves or satyrs you might see down there, huh? I'll let you know if I see any. Thanks for your help. You're still not going to spook me, Smokey. I'll say I'll let you know if I see any. Thanks. Good luck, Magdalene. Be safe. Oh, I love that. Let's see if Vaxlov has anything to add. Hello, is there something I can do for you? Knives need sharpening? I'm Magdalene Druckerin. Are you a friend of Smokey's? I'm not sure. Is there? I'm Magdalene Druckerin. I live in town. No, I'll say, are you a friend of Smokey's? I'd like to think so. I'm Vaxlov. I'm a tinker. Travel around and help people out with sharpening knives. Little things like that. Druckerin, are you a printer's daughter? I am. My father is a printer. I'm the printer. My father and I are both printers. Yeah, I'll say that. Do you sample the wares much? Yes, I read books. Often as I can. Not as much as you think. I'll say yes, I read books. Vaxlov, don't. You're going to get in trouble again. Trouble? From me? What's he talking about? Yeah, what's he talking about? Nothing. Ignore him. Nothing. This one can't help but talk to people about all of the strange things he believes. He reads all sorts of books, talks to odd folks, gets ideas brewing in his head. Now that doesn't bother old Smokey none. Bothers some other people a whole lot. Who? It doesn't bother me any. Sounds like their problem, not his. Yeah, I want to know who. Who's bothered? Priests. Some people with limited imagination. Inquisitors. 2 inquisitors. No need to overstate the danger. Do I want to know what happened? So, books? Strange ideas? Oh, I want to know what happened. A long time ago, I got into an argument with some people in town, and they told Father Thomas. To his credit, he told them to let it go, but somehow an inquisitor found out. Oh no. Anyway, I had to leave for a while. So, books? Strange ideas? Yes, the host, the Eucharist, the bread and wine, body and blood of Christ. Holy Communion, what about it? More and more people are writing about rejecting transubstantiation. The idea that the bread and wine of the Eucharist literally becomes the body and blood of Christ. Here we go. Yes? Or because I have the Reformation background, I can say Martin Luther has written about it. I know that. Erasmus disagreed. Well, yes, Luther and Erasmus aside, people have been thinking about this for a while. Both Wycliffe and Hughes rejected transubstantiation for sound and logical reasons. Using our eyes, our senses, there is nothing perceptible that changes in the character of the bread and the wine. That doesn't mean it hasn't actually changed, though. Must our senses necessarily encompass all of God's miracles for them to be real? I suppose that's true. I'll say this one. Must our senses necessarily encompass all of God's miracles for them to be real? No, not at all. But for what reason would he place them outside of the compass of our understanding? As an act of faith. Blessed are those who believe but have not seen. Or that's a fair point. No, I'll ask about the act of faith. But if that is the case, of what importance is the material composition of the host? Even if the bread and wine turn to Christ's body and blood, why is that necessary for spiritual communion? We are bound by flesh, attempting to reunite with the light of God through the Eucharist. The act, the observance, unites our will with that of Christ. He is present in us through the remembrance, not the physical act. Are you following this, Smokey? Isn't that heresy? So what does it matter? Are you saying we shouldn't take communion? Or with my Reformation background, I can say even Martin Luther said the presence of Christ's physical body and blood was necessary to communion. Yes, but the others at the Marburg colloquy disagreed. What's that? It's not underlined in red, so we can't pop out and get a little annotation about it. Zwingli, Melanchthon, Bucher, I know I'm mispronouncing all of those names. All men far wiser and more educated on these matters than us. And if you consider that these men have rejected such thinking, then there are greater implications. Are you ready to hear why it's important to disbelieve in transubstantiation? Yeah, sure, why not? Sure, why not? Yes, I'm certain this is leading somewhere good. No, I'm sorry, I think I've heard enough. Sure, why not? I'll admit I hoped for some more enthusiasm regarding the fate of our souls, but alright. Yeah, but see, dude, you can't appeal to authority, which is what he did. He was like, oh, these men far wiser than us disagree with it. Well, it's like, okay, and I could come up with piles of men far wiser than us who agree with it. So we're just going to pit my experts against your experts, or your wise men against my wise men? I mean, that's not really a useful argument. I'm not saying anything about what he said is right or wrong. I mean, I don't know, right? It's not for me to say, but I just don't think an appeal to, well, they're wiser than us, so they must be right, is necessarily a very helpful argument. This all starts with Lucifer creating the world. What? Lucifer? Excuse me? Jesus Christ, say nothing. I'll say, excuse me? God was the Word, and the Word was truth, and the truth is light. The light is God's will. God's light contained aspects, what we consider angels, facets of his infinite intellect. One of these aspects separated itself from his intellect and manifested in the darkness as the corrupt will, Lucifer. Well, Lucifer does mean light bringer, right? And everything in creation is made up of light. Let there be light, right? But then he turned into the devil. Oh, this is deep. I'll say the darkness? To exist outside of the boundaries of God's infinite light, the corrupt will brought into being an equally infinite darkness. Within that darkness, Lucifer cast his false light, a corrupted imitation of the divine intellect, to create the world. All material in our world is inherently a corrupted manifestation of that false light. Yeah, I don't know about all that. I thought everything in creation was holy because it was created by God. We still have a connection to God through our intellect, but it is flawed by existing in our physical bodies. So Genesis is wrong? Right, right, that's what I was just thinking. Was Jesus flawed by being a man even though he was born of a virgin? But you still believe we can be redeemed through Christ, right? Alright, now I've definitely heard enough. Now I'll say so Genesis is wrong? There are many stories of creation, many versions, even of Genesis. Why is it you believe yours is the correct one? You believe the one your church has given you. Maybe if you were given another, you would have believed that instead. Oh, and I can still ask these other questions. Was Jesus flawed by being a man even though he was born of a virgin? He was not born of a virgin. Dun dun dun. Smokey says, I'm not hearing any of this. And it would not matter if he were. Lucifer was a rebellious splinter of God's will. But if God is perfect, how could God have an imperfect will? The Christ appeared when God willed his divine intellect into Jesus. But you said physical bodies are all corrupt. Alright, now I've heard enough. Yeah, I'll say this. You said physical bodies were all corrupt. Yes, but while we are the heirs of Lucifer's rebellious intellect, Christ received wisdom from the light of God himself. Well, how do you know that? He did truly die and was truly resurrected in body. But his reappearance was only important for him to convey the message of salvation to the people. In truth, resurrection is always happening, since if we die without grace, our souls are condemned to be reborn. Oh, interesting. So he believes in reincarnation? This physical world is the only hell we know, living again and again, the only torment. I think that's a sad way to look at life. So how do we escape it? That's an interesting idea. I'll say how do we escape it? Because I think he's talking about some like Buddhist ideas or Hindu ideas here. How do we escape it? Regular prayer, abstention from material desires, sublimation and elimination of want. That just sounds like being a monk, says Smokey. Okay. No, priests and monks both are corrupt agents of the business of the church. They have taken the simplicity of holy devotion and profaned it with pageantry. The saints, too, all this talk of Moritz and Satya and miracles, they're just stories. The church has led people astray, put the hope of people in meaningless rituals, faith in relics. I don't think so. I believe that Father Thomas teaches the true gospel. I can see why you don't go into town much. You have some interesting ideas, Vaxlov. Yeah, I'll say that. I'm glad you think so. I've spent a lifetime thinking about them. Anyway, thank you for indulging me, Magdalene. It was illuminating, of course. I was just being polite. I'm not going to say that. But it was illuminating. Yeah, it was very interesting. Until later. until then. Alright. Cool. That was an intriguing conversation. It sounds like if we want to go into the salt mines, we might have to go and find the twins. I think they're referring to Apollo and Artemis. Let's go back into town. I think that Artemis... Oh, that's the mill. No, I don't want to go to the mill, but, oh. Paul's standing out here now. It was Andreas, a little child named Andreas. Let's talk to Paul and see what he has to say. Good morning, Magdalene. How's the mural coming along? Well, I think I'm off to start the first part of the mural today. I'll paint the founding of Tassing and the Romans. Well, you won't want for any models. Tassing is littered with Roman ruins. It's almost a nuisance. I trust you'll take the council's opinions on the matter into account. Of course, Paul, the mural is for the entire town, not just me and my father. I'll listen to you, but ultimately the decision on what to paint lies with me. You couldn't decide what should be on the mural for months. I'll stick to my own decisions, thanks. Well, the thing is, though, realistically, if you paint whatever you want and the town doesn't like it, they can just slap another coat of paint over the top of it. So you might as well take some of their input into account. That's reassuring to hear, Magdalene. Your father is a stubborn man when he wants to be. Age has made him strong-minded. Perhaps you are better suited to this project than he is. All I ask is that you keep the Lord in mind. The mural is for Tassing, but we have others to appease as well. I understand. I'll consider the Lord, don't worry. Sure. I understand. I'll say that. Thank you, Magdalene. Anyway, I'm glad that the mural is coming along well. Forgive my sudden questioning about it. I've been so busy preparing for the council's next meeting, I haven't had as much time with Anna as usual. And that's his wife, who was the daughter, or is the daughter, of the bakers. Her father was shot and killed right outside this mill. She says I get a bit frantic when I'm overwhelmed. Is the council working on something new? I didn't think council work was all that serious in such a small town. Maybe you should take some time off from the council, Paul. I'll ask if they're working on something new. We're considering yearly maintenance checks on every house in Tassing. The idea's had quite a bit more pushback than we'd anticipated. Maintenance checks as in, like, checking to make sure all of the buildings are in good shape? Or maintenance checks like making everybody pay money toward upkeep or something? I'm not quite sure I know what they're talking about here. New ideas always face some kind of opposition. I don't think you should let that stop you. I can understand the utility of the proposition, but it might feel like a nuisance. I can't imagine why. I'd certainly love it if my neighbors nosed their way into my house every year. Getting pushback against something you want to do, God, how horrible it must be for you. Yeah, I'm going to say that. Because that's all she gets is pushback when she's trying to get this mural done. Your point is taken, Magdalene. We agreed to let you paint the mural. In any case, the matter is far from resolved. I imagine spring will come before anything is actually done. I'd better get back to work. Thank you for letting me interrupt your day, Magdalene. God bless you. Till later, Paul. Alright. Oh, look. I can't actually go to the Roman ruins from here. There used to be a little path that led to the ruins, and now there's not. Interesting. Oh, Craft is out here working where Lucky used to work. I'm guessing that Lucky is no longer alive. Lucky was Brigitte's father or stepfather, and her son is Craft, and now Craft is here. He is the stonemason in town. Aw, Lucky always said he wanted to have a grandson that would take over as stonemason, someone he could teach all of his skills to. That's so cool. Hey, Magdalene. Okay, he's got nothing else to say to me. Oh, what's she doing back there? Shh, Mag, I'm hiding. Cute. I thought I saw Artemis standing around outside somewhere. Whose family are the twins Apollo and Artemis? I'm not sure which family they're part of. I thought that Artemis was standing around. Oh, here we go. I think this is where I saw Artemis. Alright, let's talk to Utz. He's supposedly my intended husband or something. He wants to marry me, so let's see what he's got to say. Hey, Mags. Alright, I'm not marrying this fool. Because she's told him a million times she doesn't like being called Mags. She likes being called Magda or Magdalene, and he refuses to listen to her. And if that's the case, then fuck him. He'd make a shit husband. I'm sorry. I don't care what other good qualities he has. If he doesn't even respect her most basic request, then he's not worth marrying. That's it. I'm done. We're not marrying this fool, Magda. We're not marrying him. Got your way with the mural, huh? I didn't expect you to convince the council like that. Yeah, no, we're not marrying this fool. Fuck him. I can be pretty stubborn when I want to. You think that little of me? I didn't expect the town to pick a half-wit like you for the council, so I guess we're all disappointed. That's mean, and I kind of want to say it, but I'm just going to say you think that little of me? No, I'm impressed. The rest of the council has been arguing over the matter for so long, even I couldn't get a word in. Then you come in and shut them up in a few minutes. We could use more women like you in the town. What do you mean by that? There are plenty of opinionated women in town. Want to let us join the council? Yeah, let's say that. Well, you'd have to take that up with the Lord. Besides, I don't think any of them are as hard-headed as you. You're the exception, Magdalene. You always are. You really think so? No, that sounds too flirty. I don't like it. Clearly you've forgotten about Agnes. She doesn't suffer fools gladly. Yeah, I'll say that. That's not what I meant. She's not... Oh, never mind. Forget about it. Anyway, standing up to the council like that was great. I know I'm on the council, but sometimes it doesn't seem like I have any influence. You do, though. You vouched for me to do the mural in the first place. Well, you are the youngest member of the council. The others have much more life experience. Maybe that's a good thing. You waste all of your time with Craft and Apollo anyway. Utz actually seems insecure about his place on the council. He may be an ass sometimes, but I don't like to see him so upset. He's always poking fun at me, too. Maybe I should remind him he's not that important after all. Yeah, I'll go with that. It'll be fine. I'm only poking back, right? Well, I do like to give credit where credit is due, and he did help me get accepted as the painter of the mural, so alright, we'll go with that. Only after your dad did. I still feel bad about that. I should have stuck up for you. Being the youngest one on the council has been harder than I thought. I know Baltus and Werner don't think I'm capable, and even Paul has warned me about being too rash. My dad died trying to make a difference in this town. All I'm trying to do is carry on his legacy, but it seems like the others won't make room for any change. Keep pushing, Utz. They're stuck in the past, but we're looking toward the future of Tassing. You sound like my dad. He always said that the council was scared of doing anything important. I don't think anything is going to change for the better in this town. It's stuck in its ways. I'll tell him to keep pushing. Thanks, Mags. Stop fucking calling me Mags, dipshit. Magdalene. Alright, fine. It'll take time, but maybe they'll listen to me eventually. Oh well, better get back to it. See you later, Mags. Oh my god, this guy! Alright, well since we're here, let's come in here and talk to Black Till. Because he supposedly has some information that I might find useful. His father was really interested in reading all of the books up at the Abbey and knew a lot about the town. We talked to him in Act 1 about all of that. So maybe Black Till, his son, has some more information that we could use. Gotta God bless you, Magdalene. God bless you, Till. Do you have a moment? Of course. What do you need? Ut says you've been obsessed with your painting. I'm looking into the early history of Tassing for the first part of the mural. Hey, I have other interests. Us is just jealous that I spend more time with the mural than I do with him. I'm not even going to talk about that schmuck. Alright, I'm just going to say I'm looking into the early history of Tassing. Mother Illuminata said your grandfather read about the history of the town. Oh, not his father, his grandfather. Okay. Fertile fields, that is. Seemed like old pot shards and Latin trivia were all he ever talked about. All of Granddad's reading came from the Abbey's library, though, and you know what happened there. Poof, up in smoke. So you don't have any of his old books? I remember I was there. You were a little wee babby at the time. I'll just ask if he has any of the old books. Only a few. Granddad tried to buy some when the Abbey fell on hard times, but they were too expensive. But I can show you something better than books. Evidence? Anything would help. Don't keep me in suspense. Yeah, evidence? Something like that. See, we don't have any books on the old pagans, but we do have their stuff. Shards of ceramic pots and animals, bricks from what looks to be an old forge, mountains of salt. Even found a little bear carved from amber. Oh, cool. Really? Where did you find all this stuff? Where are you keeping these things? Yeah, where did you find it? It's not just me. Carl finds things. Fabian, too. Any farmer will tell you the same. Oh, you dig them up in the fields. It's all out there in the fields, under the dirt. Can't go one season without turning up something. Where are you keeping them? Nowhere. We just toss them into piles with the rest of the rocks and root clumps. Sure, it's interesting, but we can't do much of anything with the stuff except look at it. Oh, you should have at least kept the amber bear. That's cool. What do you think it all means? I don't follow. How do you think these people lived? What do you think they were like? Where do you think they all went? I'll say, what do you think they were like? Well, I guess I never really thought about it. They seem like regular people. Their remains all look like ours. Tools and weapons are rougher, but not badly made. The little carvings and ceramic critters aren't so different from the things Eva made for us. Huh, I suppose I expected them to be more strange. Because they weren't Christians? No doubt they were coarse, but they don't seem especially violent, not like the church says. Not so different from today, really. Earlier you mentioned something about salt. Did the pagans start the mine? This has been a big help. This pagan history wasn't really what I expected. Now I'm going to ask about the mine. Had to have, I'd say. Most people think it was a Roman project, but I think the Romans just dug out what was already there. That's why Tassing was so important to the Romans in the first place. Salt. So Tassing wasn't just on the Imperial Road. They made the road come through Tassing. I'd always wondered why they'd settled in such a small alpine town. Yeah, this one's got the magnifying glass, and I'm not quite sure what that magnifying glass means, but I'm going to go with that one. Do you think there's anything left of the pagans down there? I don't know, but anything they left would have to be better preserved than what we dig out of the fields. Magdalene, tell me you aren't thinking of going down there. What if there's stuff that could help me with the mural? Lie. I am definitely not thinking of going down there. No, I'll say what if there's stuff that can help with the mural. Magdalene, that mine is hundreds of years old. You could break your neck just getting in there. It's worth it for the mural. This will be remembered. Oh. It has to be perfect. I want to try my best for Dad. Yeah, I'll say that. This will be remembered. Imagine how your dad would feel if you got hurt. Oh, then help me get down safely and he won't have to worry. I can persuade him because I was dedicated to the mural's success and I wanted to do it for my dad. You're bullheaded just like your mother. And your father. Probably couldn't keep you out of there if I tried. Please, Till. Alright. Don't know how to get down there myself, but I know those twins have gotten in a time or two. No doubt they'd have a trick. Well, yeah, I've been trying to find them. I don't know where they are. And Baltus might not be the most reliable man, but I don't doubt he could rig something up for you too. Ah, well, and I do work with Baltus quite a bit because I chose the tinker background. So, alright, well, we'll go talk to Baltus then. I think I trust Baltus, the inventor, more than I would trust two random teenage twins, so... I'll promise I'll be careful. I'm holding you to that, young lady. This has been a big help. Or I can say this pagan history wasn't really what I expected. Sure, I'll say that. The past never is. You think all the pagan stuff will make it in the mural? I can bring some of the things the boys and I have found over to the rat house tomorrow if that would help. Really? That would be great. Yeah. I'm glad you're taking an interest, Magdalene. I thought no one cared about the pagans but me and Granddad. I should warn you, if you do head into the forest, keep an eye out for the Lord's men. What? They're strict. Worse now than they used to be. I'll be careful. Until tomorrow. Until then. We have the Lord's men patrolling the forest? Alright, let's go talk to Baltus. Oh. We can talk to Elsa, Anna, and Andreas. Magdalene, dear, says Elsa. Good day, Magdalene, says Anna. Hi, says Andreas. How's your father? He's doing better, I think. We're lucky to have Dr. Stolz in Tassing. He's a hard worker. May God bless Claus with a speedy recovery. May he be gracious. How are you two? I'm delighted to enjoy another beautiful autumn day. I'm just glad to be sitting down for a minute. I'm so tired, wrung dry. Andreas and Ulrich can wear down even the most vigorous person. Not even young Utz could keep up with these two. The blessing and the curse of small children. Mom! Ulrich, is she alright? Ah, yeah, she wanted to run off and hide so I could find her, after I've caught my breath for a moment. Haha. I don't think she appreciates me taking this long. Nod. I'll ask if Andreas is playing along. No. This young man won't lose sight of his mom. Say, Magdalene, could you perhaps go find Ulrich in my stead? Of course, I'd be delighted. Yeah, I already found her once. I'm afraid I have something I must attend to. Yeah, I'll go find her. Wonderful. She's somewhere in town, although I'm not sure where by now. She ran up the street toward the bakery. I imagine you can find her by the giggling. Okay, I'll be off then. Not sure how this is going to help me do anything with the mural, but okay. Andreas. Hello, Magdalene. How is Claus? Resi and I are very worried. Alive, that's what matters. Not well, Andreas. I'll say not well. May God look after you both. We've had enough tragedy in this town. Fortunately, Dr. Stolz appears to have found his purpose. I remember him being so sad when I was a girl. Really? He's so dour all of the time. Say nothing. I'll say I remember him being sad. Yeah, this isn't the first time someone mentioned Dr. Stolz turning over a new leaf and finding his purpose and all of that. So I have no idea if it's something that I said or did in the previous 2 acts as Andreas Maler. Yeah, what happened? You're still a girl. He was once the picture of arrogance, masked sadness, I think. Like to talk about how he was destined for better places than this backwater alpine town. How he was meant for the courts of kings. Yeah, I remember all that. No longer. He grew up. Did the revolt change him? What changed? I'll pick the magnifying glass. Did the revolt change him? Changed everyone. But he is the one who saw the bodies. He's not a heartless man, Magdalene. He deserves our compassion. But I shouldn't gossip. If there's anything Resi and I can do for you, let us know. I will. Thank you for your kindness, Andreas. It's nothing. I owe your father more than I can say. Take care, Magdalene. That's it? He doesn't have any info for the mural? Okay. Hey, Resi. Hello, Mr. Struckerin. How is Claus? Andreas and I have been terribly worried. Dad's spirits are high, but he still gets headaches and spells of dizziness. He's been better. I'll say his spirits are high, but he still has headaches and stuff. If there's anything we can help you with, let us know. Andreas is always ready to provide. What? I'm sorry? That sounds like something personal. He and Claus have been friends for a long time. Oh, okay. Right. Yeah. Dirty mind. I gotta stop. Okay. My thanks to you both. We're certainly grateful. If you don't mind, you weren't born in Tassing, am I right? Yeah. Let's ask about that. No, I am originally from Innsbruck. Oh, yay! So maybe this is the girl from Innsbruck that Andreas had said he liked. And when I was Andreas Maler, I encouraged him to pursue her. How did you arrive here? The twists of Providence are sudden and unpredictable. I was but a young girl selling all manner of wares on the market, pots and the like. One day this man appears to the stall, all jitters and nerves, stammering over his words, but charming in a way. We spoke at length. I was intrigued and soon enamored, as if a candle had been lit. Andreas is a man of talent and means, after all, blessed with a kind soul. Yeah, absolutely. I do adore Andreas. How did it feel to leave home for someone somewhere far away, uprooting yourself from the life you had? Do you have any regrets? No, I'll just ask what it felt like to uproot yourself. Frightening, to be sure, leaving Innsbruck, my friends and family behind. But it was exciting as well, going off to find new opportunities and build a new life. There wasn't much I had to look forward to in Innsbruck, few prospects for a poor girl. I couldn't see myself sitting at the market, continuing to sell odds and ends. Sometimes there are risks we just have to take. That's very inspiring, Resi. I'm glad you found happiness here. I'm still unsure. You can't actually know how life would have turned out had you stayed in Innsbruck. No, I'll just say that I'm glad she found happiness. We all struggle in this world, but the moments of joy outweigh the bad. It's how God has set the world, His benevolence guiding us through it all. I feel I've been blessed, and it's not been all bad for Andreas either. I assist him with the bookkeeping side of the smithy and other things. Other things, wink wink, nudge nudge. Thank you for telling me about your past. I hope I've also made the right choices so far. And I'll thank her for telling me about her past. It's nothing, Magdalene. I hope it has provided you with some encouragement. Don't forget, you are important as well and deserve to live your life. Alright, I have to assist Andreas with a few things. Be well, Magdalene. Until later, Therese. Therese? I thought her name was Resi. Oh, maybe her full name is Therese. And Resi is just a nickname. Okay. Oh, here's Ulrich playing hide and seek. Haha, there you are. Hey, you found me. Bet you can't find me again, Mag. Oh, okay. I guess we'll be looking for Ulrich somewhere else. But for now, I want to get over here. Oh, there's Ulrich right there. All right. I was going to say I want to go talk to Balthazar, but all right. Got you. Aw, you found me again. Wait here. I'll find a better spot. Okay. Yep, I'm going to go in here and talk to Balthus about getting into the mines, but I think that is where I'm going to stop for today. Oh my gosh, I had no idea that Act 3 would go on as long as it is. I've seen online some people talking about it being kind of boring, but that the ending is really good. I don't think it's boring at all. I actually enjoy seeing how everything has changed and talking to everyone about what's happened since I was Andreas Maler and learning more about the town and seeing how all of the decisions I made as Andreas Maler have played out here in Act 3. I think it's really cool, and I'm enjoying it. And I hope you're enjoying it too. If you are, let me know in the comments. Tell me what you're thinking about Act 3 and the history of Tassing and what you're thinking of Pentiment overall. And don't forget that I am giving away a set of Lansquenet cards based on the card game that was actually played in medieval times in the real world and also played as a mini game in Pentiment Act 2. I have an actual official Xbox Gear Shop set of those cards that I'm giving away. There's a giveaway video on my channel and more information about the giveaway in the description of this and my other Pentiment videos. Special thanks to all of you who go above and beyond and support the channel through channel memberships. Every little bit helps. Take care of yourselves. Until next time. Bye!